project-based learning, which is very significant for this particular age group, we don't want to minimise still having play as part of the process. For example, it could be something that's exploratory in that they want to explore an interest or a passion that they might have. Or it could be just collaborative in that they want to do some group work. And so in project-based learning, we can allow them to engage in group work, to work collaboratively, and to continue to build those teamwork skills or those collaboration skills. Now, the image that's here is from a group that I was working with, where we have our Genius Camp, and we get them to explore things around the world that are of interest to them and what can they do. And this is where I'm building on the ability for them to have insight and to allow their voice to be heard even at this age. Now, these kids were probably in the 12, 13, 14 age group who were working on this, and we had them working in groups. So everybody had a role to play. Now, in this case here, John Dewey is an early proponent of project-based learning with the focus on learning by doing. And this is where if we can engage the kids in doing things and recognising they have the capacity to do it. So it is a student-centred pedagogy. It's student focus. They're actually driving what is happening here, and they're focusing on what's important for them. And engaging them in active exploration of real-world issues is something that I would strongly advocate. Now, you may be a teacher and in your classroom you can do that, or you may be the teacher librarian in the school and you're assisting these young people as they're engaging in their research and their exploration and the activities that they might be doing, whereby they're utilising the resources that you have available to explore that. Inquiry learning forms a part of this as well, because this is where they're starting to understand what it is to put questions together to get the answers that they need as they embrace this new learning, as they're using their imagination, as they're working out what is happening in the world around them and how they fit within the world. So it's important that we have them involved in doing some collaborative production and presentations, that we encourage them to pursue things that are of interest to them. Because what happens here, because this is their time of kind of emotions and feelings, it is allowing them to get emotionally engaged with what they're doing within the school environment. If we consider specific things in the curriculum, then it will be something like this, that across the curriculum, we have all of these different areas that we would cover. So there's the science experiments and there's the nature studies. And this involves them in exploring and investigating and getting engaged with what that is. And I can remember as a child, there was a TV program called Professor Julius Sumner Miller, Why Is It So? And as a child in this age group of the 7 to 14, that absolutely fascinated me. And I would sit there and watch that television program. It was an ABC program. And this is what it is all about. It's this sense of wonderment, imagination, and what is happening around in the world and how can I be part of it. If we look at the history and cultural components, so you're looking at humanities and understanding and appreciation that there's diversity. If you think about it, children in this age, in fact, don't have any sense of difference. Everybody is the same, even though we live in a diverse world. They will have friends and mates who will come from all different backgrounds, but they're involved here in sort of the research of history and also creative presentations. So that's a part of the curriculum that we can involve them in. And then also the social impact projects, the real world issues, helping them to understand the world and how it works and how they play a part. In this case here, this was a program that we run at least once a year, and next year we'll run it 2 times, and it's a Teen Quest project. So we have a group that's a younger age, and then we have an older group. But in this case here, Alex took a passion that he had. It was a hobby. He took up beekeeping, and we got him to explore it even further through getting him to do some research around the whole process of what it is and to connect it with a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. And for his goal, it was the life on the land. And so he began to look at that, and then he began to look at what he was doing as a beekeeper, and he began to think, well, okay, why is this important in the world, and how can I play a part in this? And he was exploring then the importance of bees in the ecosystem, that if we don't have the bees, the flowers aren't pollinated. So, for example, recently we've had the almond trees, and there's also too the virus through the beehives here in Australia. So these are all important things that they're hearing about. And to get them to explore them and to understand them is absolutely crucial. So for him, Alex became the beekeeper, and he brought that in and he explored it further. And he in this case, he turned a passion into a project and turned it into a business for himself as well. But for him, he wanted to look at what it is to be sustainable. How can we have the bee ecology respected and have it sustainable, but still get the benefits of the honey that they produce? So this, in a way, brings in all sorts of things of civic responsibility, making a difference in the world by what I do and how I might do my presentations, which express my voice as an individual. But also, too, we can engage them in all different learning areas that are of interest to them. Not everybody wants to explore science, but they might want to explore the nature studies. Not everybody wants to look at history, but they might want to explore something of the cultural differences through cooking and all sorts of things in society. And, of course, the social impact, there's always social things happening. We're constantly bombarded by that through media and everything else. When we think about the skills that these young people are developing in this 7 to 14, it's quite extensive. And it's building on that foundation that develops at that 0 to 7 stage. We're still continuing the curiosity component and the imagination and the wonderment, but we're allowing them to express their own creativity because they have the capacity to have some insights into what they believe as they're developing their whole understanding for themselves. They're engaged in problem solving and critical thinking, and also their social skills. They're learning what it is to communicate. They're learning what it is to express themselves to others. They become more self-aware of what's happening around them, and they're developing the digital literacy. So they're working how to use the digital tools, but then also how to undertake some research and be guided through that. So through the inquiry approach, they know how they can formulate their search and what they need to do. And of course, if you're working in school libraries, you'll have a crucial role to play in this component in helping them in this 7 to 14 bracket. And they develop the research, but also the presentation skills of being able to put together something that is worthy of being presented and also to be heard.